What if Earth and Uranus collide? Imagine the chaos. Our planet smashing into an ice giant. The sheer scale of such a disaster would be beyond anything we've ever seen, wiping out life as we know it. What would this catastrophe look like? Uranus is truly a fascinating and strange world. It is a cold and windy ice giant in our solar system. Surrounded by 13 faint rings and 28 small moons, it has an unusual tilt that sets it apart from the other planets. Rotating at nearly a 90-degree angle from its orbit, Uranus appears to roll through space like a giant ball, creating extreme seasonal changes that few other planets experience. Discovered in 1781, Uranus was the first planet found with a telescope. Initially mistaken for a comet or a star, it took 2 years for the scientific community to recognize it as a new planet. Uranus is a stunning, distant world, but it's far from a place where life could survive. With its freezing temperatures, crushing pressures, and dangerous gases, Uranus is a planet completely hostile to any form of life we know. Just to give you an idea, Uranus is about 4 times wider than Earth. If Earth were the size of a nickel, Uranus would be like a softball. It's also incredibly far from the Sun, around 1.8 billion miles away, meaning sunlight takes nearly 3 hours to reach it. A day on Uranus is shorter than ours, lasting only 17 hours. But a year there is incredibly long. It takes about 84 Earth years for Uranus to make one full trip around the Sun. One of its strangest features is its extreme tilt of 97.77 degrees, likely caused by a massive collision with an Earth-sized object in the past. This tilt leads to extreme seasons, where each pole experiences decades of sunlight followed by 21 years of total darkness. Uranus is also known for its moons, 28 of them. Some of these moons are made of ice and rock, while others are thought to be captured asteroids. The planet also has a unique ring system, with dark red rings and 2 outer rings, one of which is bright blue, similar to Saturn's famous rings. Now imagine a distant future when everything in our solar system suddenly goes haywire. In this wild scenario, Uranus could end up on a collision course with Earth. But how could that happen? In terms of size, Uranus is enormous. It is 14.5 times more massive than Earth. Imagine Earth as a marble and Uranus as a bowling ball. If the two collided, the impact would be catastrophic. The energy released would make any natural disaster we've ever seen look insignificant. The collision would not only destroy Earth but also send shockwaves across the solar system, throwing everything into chaos. Uranus is a gas giant with swirling clouds of hydrogen and helium. If it collided with Earth, the icy planet could crack open, releasing gases that have been trapped for billions of years. The result, a spectacle of destruction that would reshape the solar system, if anything survived. But what if Uranus suddenly started heading towards Earth? Imagine this distant planet slowly creeping towards us. Astronomers would be the first to sound the alarm, revealing that Uranus could collide with Earth in just 13 years. While we might have some time to prepare, it wouldn't be enough. Then, in a bizarre twist, Uranus accelerates, racing through space at 600 miles per second, leaving us with just 30 days to face our fate. As it approaches, Uranus will look like a bright blue star in the sky, growing larger every day. But that's not all. It will disturb the asteroid belt, sending giant space rocks hurtling towards Earth. These asteroids, some bigger than the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, will cause chaos even before the planet itself arrives. When Uranus gets close enough, it will pull on Earth with its massive gravity, 15 times stronger than our own. This would trigger violent earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and wild weather. And then there is the smell. Uranus's atmosphere contains hydrogen sulfide, the same gas that makes rotten eggs smell so bad. Imagine the stench of an entire planet's worth of rotten eggs engulfing Earth. Uranus wouldn't come alone. It would drag its 27 moons along with it, each one crashing towards us. As Uranus gets closer, its gravitational force will heat our atmosphere, potentially igniting it in a fiery explosion. Earth would be torn apart and absorbed by the giant planet, becoming just another of Uranus's moons. Interestingly, Uranus might not emerge from this collision unchanged. The last time it collided with something, it was knocked onto its side. This new crash could tip Uranus back to its original position. But for Earth, this would be the end. As it gets closer, the sky darkens and the ice giant becomes larger. People on Earth would watch in awe and fear, wondering if we could somehow stop it or if this was the end of everything. Reminds you of the movie Don't Look Up, doesn't it? Now think about a massive black hole lurking in the distance. Its powerful pull could yank Uranus off its path and send it spiraling towards the Sun. But instead of settling down, the Sun flings Uranus straight towards Earth. Asteroids and comets scatter as this icy giant rushes closer. Imagine scientists trying to tap into the universe's power, but their experiments open a rift in space-time. Suddenly, Uranus is sucked through this portal, tumbling towards us. As it grows larger in the sky, it causes chaos on Earth, with wild weather and shaking ground. Or think of an alternate scenario. Think of a future where we've colonized Mars and are exploring the outer solar system. In our quest to control the cosmos, we accidentally push Uranus off its path. As it spirals towards Earth, alarms sound and panic spreads. In all of these scenarios, the idea of Uranus colliding with Earth is both thrilling and terrifying, isn't it? Now let's discuss some facts. If Earth were ever to collide with a giant planet like Uranus, it would trigger a series of extreme and devastating events. The first major issue would be the gravitational disruption. As the two planets move closer, their gravitational forces would start pulling on each other, messing up the orbits of both. The delicate balance that keeps our climate steady would break down, causing huge swings in temperature. We might have scorching heat that boils away oceans, and the next, cold that covers everything in ice. These wild shifts would make it nearly impossible for life to survive, as the planet would become far too hostile. As the collision gets closer, huge amounts of debris would be thrown into space. This debris would be made up of massive chunks of rock, dust, and parts of both planets, creating a ring around the new planet that forms from the wreckage. These rings, much like Saturn's, would be made of the leftovers from the impact. Over time, gravity would start to pull these pieces together, possibly forming new moons or even smaller planets. It would be like watching the birth of a new mini solar system around the newly formed planet. The collision itself would be so powerful that it would shatter both Earth and Uranus into pieces. The force would send large fragments of both planets into space. Over time, some of these chunks might slowly come back together, merging into a new smaller planet. But this new world wouldn't look anything like the Earth or Uranus that we know today. It would be a strange and unfamiliar place created from the remains of two once living planets. Not only would the planets be torn apart, but the immense heat from the collision would also cause major damage to Earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere would be stripped away, leaving the surface of the planet exposed to the harshness of space. Without the atmosphere's protection, the Earth would be bombarded with harmful solar radiation and cosmic rays, making the surface deadly for any remaining life. The planet would no longer have the blanket of air that keeps it livable, making survival nearly impossible. The newly merged planet would be incredibly hot too. The energy released from the collision would push temperature into thousands of degrees, turning the entire surface into a burning molten wasteland. For years, if not centuries, the planet would be far too hot for anything to live there. It would be a hellscape with no water or breathable air, completely inhospitable for humans or any other animals. However, if life somehow managed to hold on, it wouldn't be anything like the life forms we know today. Only the toughest organisms, called extremophiles, would have a chance. These are creatures that thrive in extreme conditions, like deep-sea vents or boiling springs. They might find a way to survive in the superheated, radiation-filled environment of the new planet. But even these hardy survivors would look and act very different from the diverse life we see on Earth today. They'd be adapted to extreme heat, high radiation, and a toxic environment, becoming something entirely alien compared to the life forms we know. So would Earth ever bounce back from something like this? Recovery from such a disaster would take millions, maybe even billions of years. As the planet cooled down, its surface would slowly change. New landforms would appear, and maybe, just maybe, oceans and an atmosphere could reform. But this would be a long, slow process far beyond any human time frame. In the end, the planet might stabilize enough to support life again. But that life would be nothing like what we're familiar with. What do you think would happen? Let us know in the comment section below. Hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.